Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Success Grid podcast. Here with me, Hussein Talib. I have a special guest today. Jason Fleagle is the founder and CEO of the growth consulting company Catalyst Brand Group and a content marketing manager for one of the best marketing agencies, Motava.com. Jason has also worked as a content creator with John Maxwell and Ziglar and Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. So, Jason, welcome to the Success Grid podcast.
Hey, thank you, Hussein. I'm so glad to be here and excited to share some value tips with your listeners.
Awesome, welcome to the show. So, I mentioned a little bit about you. Why don't you tell us a little more about who you are and what you do now?
Yeah, for sure. So I have a very diverse background. Content marketing, digital marketing, and technology are kind of a sweet spot for me. But I actually, before that, was involved in medicine. So I
Yeah,
was
cool.
accepted into medical school and dental school. So I thought I was going to be a medical professional. I come from a medical family. My dad's a dentist. I have a number of siblings that are dentists, dental hygienists, doctors, medical researchers. So I thought that was my route that I was going to take. I ended up getting involved in doing nonprofit consulting as a college student. And that's what's kind of introduced me into doing digital marketing and growth consulting. So a lot of what I do over the last 10 years, I've just been getting experience, equipping myself with like software engineering experience and skills, digital marketing skills, and content marketing. So over the years, like you mentioned, Hussein, I had the opportunity to work with some amazing people, people like John Maxwell, Ziglar, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. We worked with Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels as an affiliate,
Cool. Awesome.
Onyx and Gauls, Ty Lopez. So a lot of really big names.
Big names,
And,
in the industry, in the marketing, and this is cool.
That's right. So, I mean, we had the opportunity to work with them on a number of projects, but the bigger thing for me was I was able to, see how they work behind the scenes and learn a lot of that. So
Yeah.
today, currently, I work with Motava, which is primarily an SEO agency, but also do web development, have IT, so managed IT support services. And then any kind of digital marketing attached to that. So I lead a lot of the content marketing efforts there. So blog post creation, aggregation, do some SEO research, keyword analysis, and then manage the team of writers, designers, and developers for anything related to content marketing. And then my Catalyst company is focused on growth consulting. So basically a company is, at stage A, they want to get to stage B. What's the best way to get there? So I have a team of really trusted partners that we work together to figure out what's that best game plan. So we actually do a lot of custom software development, mobile app development, and then also some operation implementation. So project management tools, CRMs for a lot of sales and lead gen kind of platforms. So basically anything surrounding growth, like what's the best way to help get that company to the next level. And then my new company here, Wreckage Sports, we're a fight performance company. We provide all food grade, natural, organic products, supplements to fighters and athletes. And then we also have a B2B component where we work with dojos and gyms. So anyone in the boxing space, martial arts space, they do some kind of training or have a place where athletes can train in the fight space. We have a success kit that we provide to them. They can wholesale our products, but they also get access to a whole digital marketing suite of resources. Basically anything with Motava and Catalyst that we provide, we then do the growth implementation.
Awesome. So you mentioned that you studied medical or went to medical school or something like that. So what happened that changed exactly from that to business? And what was the thoughts of your, let's say, family, your father, your mother, how, especially because we all know, like, a lot of people in all the world, most families that when their kids grow up and they want to go to college and universities, they push them either to go to medical school or engineering or maybe business school, like accounting and stuff like that. So what happened there?
Yeah, So I grew up working a lot at my dad's dental office, his practice, and I loved the work that I did. I love serving other people, but I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've always had a passion for technology and how can I use those technology and systems to better grow nonprofits and businesses at a larger scale.
Mm.
So I loved working one on one with patients, but I wanted to do something where I could have a bigger reach. I wanted to work with all kind of companies. So I still do some work with medical companies today, which is amazing. I really enjoy that. But I got accepted into medical school, a dental school, explored the whole dynamic of what that would look like for my future. And just, after a lot of thought and consideration, decided not to go. And to answer your question about parents, my parents, I'm one of 10 in my family, so we have a
Wow,
large
cool,
family.
awesome.
Um,
Very large family. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. So,
Like me, I
um,
have the same thing here.
yeah, awesome. I mean, I love big families. I'm a huge fan of big families, and I think it provides a different experience growing up. Like I loved it, and I mentioned, most of my siblings are involved in medicine in some capacity. So when I didn't go the route of medicine, becoming a doctor, my parents were. I mean, they were a little disappointed, of course, as most parents would be, but looking at my background, they saw, I growing up, I always, as an entrepreneur usually does, they figure out things to problems. Like I
Mm,
needed to make money, so I would always sell stuff to other people. I would sell things on eBay when it was first getting started. So I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit of doing things. So my parents were like, if you feel like this is what you need to do, then go do it and we'll support you 100%. So looking
good.
back now, it was a perfect decision for me because if I did become a doctor, a physician, or a dentist, I would probably still be wanting to do what I'm doing right now, or I'd feel like I'm stuck and I would want to be doing it even more. So, like doing growth consulting and marketing technology consulting is just something that I want to do and I feel like I have to do. I'm really good at it and I really enjoy it. So,
Mm, great. So you went into this entrepreneurial route, let's say, and you started working with businesses now. So
mhm.
what do you believe is that entrepreneurs makes them successful in today's business world? What makes people successful? Especially now,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things going on. A lot of I don't know, maybe a lot of businesses. For example, someone makes an account on Instagram and they consider themselves a business. And how do you see these things going?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a loaded question. He's saying it depends on where the business is at. If a company is just starting out, making sure that the brand identity is really solidified. So understanding who you are, what you do, and why you do it are really important pieces of information that need to be determined. And then from there, when you understand that, you can really define more of that product or service that you're offering. So every business has a product or service that might be informational products, it might be a physical product, it might be software as a digital product. You might provide a service. Like for me, we provide software products, but we also can do the implementation of the products too, working with a company to do that. So and then home service companies, doing air conditioning, things like that. That's a service company. So really
Mm,
understanding your features, your benefits that you provide to your end customer or client. And then the biggest important piece is what does that mean to them? Jim Edwards, who is one of the best copywriters in the world, he
yeah.
works a lot with Russell Brunson.
Yeah, I
If
actually
you
have his book, but I haven't read it yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say his book, Copywriting Secrets, I
Uh,
think, is
yeah.
very, very good. So, a lot of companies today, they just focus on the features and the benefits, and that's focused on themselves. It's not
Yeah,
focused on the
exactly.
end
Yeah, yeah,
consumer or the
yeah.
customer. So,
Yeah.
if you talk about the features and benefits and then what that means to the end customer consumer, you're gonna beat your competition way better. So that's a big thing there. If you just do a few of those, that's great. And then the next stage after that is every company has to do sales. Like if you don't do sales, you're not making any money. You're not going to be able to pay yourself, pay your team, let alone become successful in the future. So understanding how to have a detailed sales and lead gen process is important. I go back to, again, Russell Brunson's book, .com Secrets or Expert Secrets, because he talks about building
And he also have Traffic Secrets, I think.
Yeah, Traffic Secrets is great. That's one I haven't read yet. It's on my list to read. But the idea there is it's an epiphany bridge. So think of it as a value ladder. What kind of value are you providing to your customer or client from first interaction with them to them becoming a raving fan? And then kind of fill in the dots from there. So like with Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, when we helped build his value ladder, it was a lot of free content. Hey, here's my 7 steps to the perfect pitch, to how to pitch your business to investors. Here's a perfect pitch cheat sheet that you just go down the list, make sure you have this in your pitch that you're creating. How to do sales well. There was a lot of free content that we gave to people to get them into the email list. And then from there, it was producing even more content. Be like, oh, because you downloaded, these free incentives, not free incentives, these free cheat sheets. Now you get a discount on my new book that I have. All you have to do is pay for shipping and handling. As you can see, Russell Brunson, a lot of these other big guys, they do the same thing because they want to deliver value, but they get people into their community and messaging them. And then they make an offer a little bit later. And that's their masterclass. That's something, their coaching program. That's when they start to make money. And then eventually you have whatever it is, their premium thing that they're offering. So like for Kevin Harrington, it was a mastermind. Russell has his own mastermind inner circle. I don't remember what he calls it, but it's very expensive up at that point. But usually through the value ladder, you kind of weed out who you don't want to work with and identify the people that you do want to work with. So it's a really awesome process. So that would be the next step after you kind of do the features, benefits, and meaning. Determine your value ladder and then start to test it out, see what works, see what doesn't work.
Yeah. Speaking of working and networking, you mentioned 2 things that I'm going to ask about. First thing is the brand, because a lot of people associate brand with the logo itself, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Second thing, it is relative, but it's more than that, I think. Second thing is, like you mentioned, the value ladder, meaning there is stages to have with the customer or the client. So the second thing about the ladder, what do you think the best thing is to start with? Is it like, for example, to start with a report PDF or a video, or what's your look on this one?
Yeah. So for your first question, I'd say when I say brand identity, I'm talking about like, what is that impression or that feeling that you leave people with when they first see you or hear about you? That is kind of the idea of a brand identity. And that goes beyond the logo and the graphic design elements. So a brand is really the ethos of what it is that you're trying to do. So like Amazon, eBay, Google, we know what their logos look like. Apple, but we have an idea of that feeling that it gives us because we've interacted with their products or have experienced like their customer service. So it's that ethos that you feel when you interact with them. So what is that you want to convey and give to people when they interact with you? That's something that's really, so like for Catalyst, for example, when people interact with our company, same thing with Motava. I want them to feel like they get value even from just talking with me. Like I try to give way more than I ask for because that's a big thing. It's like, wow, you're giving me all of this information for free. I can't imagine what I'm going to get if I start to pay you, for your services or your products. So that's the idea of when I say brand identity. How do you differentiate yourself from everyone else in your space, in your niche? And what do you do differently? Like what makes you the best choice out of anyone else? So Walmart has a great quote of the Walton family. He said that whoever can afford to spend the most to acquire a customer will always win. So think about that. Walmart has some of the lowest prices. They have a guarantee for a low price guarantee that they will match any price in any other store. because they know that when they get you in that first time, even though they're losing money, they're going to have the opportunity to continue to deliver value
Yeah.
because you're going to be coming back and buying more. Same thing like with Starbucks reward programs. So a lot of companies, they have these reward programs, they have things like that. They give an incentive, people join it, and then whether they realize it or not, they're being encouraged to come back.
Yeah, repeat customer is what keeps businesses growing. Actually, you
That's right.
don't want customer to come on once and never come back.
It's not a, don't think of the initial buy, think of the, what is the lifetime value? The LVTs, your lifetime value of that customer is so important because it's thinking about like every time I interact with a company, I might do a few different things. I give them free content, I give them a lot of resources that can help them. If they hire us to do like a website or something, yes, we do that, but then I'm always thinking about, okay, we got to this point. This is what I would recommend. Now we can do this for you if it's a good fit, if you liked working with us. But if not, let's both part ways. But you give them the opportunity, and you're kind of pushy because you mentioned that no one else has better products or services than you do. So if you communicate it well, you're authentic and you're trustworthy, people are going to choose you. I mean, it's like Amazon, they lose billions of dollars every year because they know if they can get you into their Amazon Prime program, that's where they're going to make their real money.
Yeah, exactly. So you answered me on the first one on the brand, but regarding the second one, for the value ladder, what do you think is the best thing that people should offer? Like free reports, videos, stuff like that? Because like you mentioned, I sometimes used to watch Brendan Bouchard, his name is, I'm sure you know him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he's talking a lot about the same thing. Like you offer free stuff, and then you say to the people, I have this program or this membership or this whatever it is. If you like this free content, you're probably going to like this one. So he's not like pushing the sale. He's telling people, I am offering a lot of things for free, and this is paid. If you like to get deeper into things, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I usually recommend companies to start with what they have available to them. So, like for example, if you're a service-based business, and maybe let's use air conditioning company as an example. So, if you provide air conditioning services, going to do jobs and recording like a before and after, hey, this is what a customer had, this is what we ended up solving for them. If you're interested in talking with us, we could definitely talk about doing the same kind of thing. So doing like a video walkthrough and putting it on YouTube and just sharing it with potential customers, or when people are looking in that area for air conditioning services, because Google owns YouTube, they're going to see, suggested video search results. So that's another easy way. Video content is one of the easiest ways that you can have a quick connection with people, because they can not only hear you, they see you, and they can see your body language to see if you're trustworthy, if you're like willing, if they're willing to reach out to you to talk about doing business. Same kind of thing with, if you're a product company, I still recommend video. So I have a Catalyst content formula that I've developed over the years, and I mean, just like this, Hussein, I'm on a lot of shows. I do a lot of speaking at conferences. I do a lot of podcast interviews. I do a lot of video content and podcast shows myself. And the biggest thing that we do is I'm on the shows, or I do a big piece of pillar content like one time, and then I repurpose that into different formats. So like for YouTube, I post the long, it's called pillar content, big pieces of content. I post it there, but then I transcribe it to have blog posts. I add it onto my podcast to have the audio component. So one piece of content that I recorded, I can put it exactly. And then from there, like you break out the long video into short video snippets that you can share, like maybe through a blog post or a guest blog post that you do on other platforms like a news outlet or a forum. And then from there, you have social media posts that you can share. So in my experience, like with Kevin Harrington, we did the Secrets of Closing a Sale Masterclass.
Yeah.
We did 20 plus hours of video content. Whoa. So then we had years of content for Kevin's brand, his personal brand, to start promoting. So at any company, at any stage, I encourage you to think about Like, what's your product or service? What are the main features, benefits, and meanings? And then from there, you should have an idea on how to create your content. Like,
Mm,
again, for me, I do a lot of content marketing. So, like SEO. Okay, what are some of the most common SEO errors that businesses make? I can do a video on that right away and say, hey, here's a free PDF guide to do your SEO checklist. So I gave you, this is the wrong things to do. Here's the right things to do. Go ahead and do it. Oh, by the way, if you need help doing this, our company can provide this service to you. And because you downloaded our free incentive, we'll give it to you at a discount as well.
mm,
So those kind of processes right there, where it's what is the need that people have? What are the search keywords that they're typing in search engines to look for that need on how to solve it? And then what's your content that's going to get in front of them to add value to them? What's your incentive you're going to offer? A free PDF is usually the best, easiest thing that you can provide,
mm.
because you can use any kind of email tool to deliver that, ConvertKit, Constant Contact, MailChimp, whichever one is the easiest for people to learn. But it gets auto delivered as soon as they put in their email, and then you go from there. Hey, thank you so much for downloading this, and then introduce more about your story. So
Yeah,
any company, if you're just starting your value ladder, that's what I usually recommend.
yeah. You mentioned story, the word story. So how can businesses discover their story to to have more impact on the customer and their business?
Yeah, it comes back down to just asking the right questions. Like, most companies, they have a visionary that is leading the company. So that's might be the CEO, it might be the founder, and it might be the founder is the operations officer or the marketing officer. It depends on who it is. But that visionary, I think, has a responsibility to clearly communicate whatever it is, that story that they want. So there's a process called the hero's journey.
Mm,
So, like Donald Miller from Story Brand talks a lot about this. I highly recommend checking out. I think his book is Building a Story Brand, but it's this idea that your business is a guide, that you work with your particular hero, and that's your customer. Your hero or your customer has specific challenges or like pitfalls that they go through on their journey from they're here, but they want this or they want to go here. And how does the guide put those pieces into place to get them from where they are, help them go around the challenges and get them there in the best way possible? Again, Russell Brunson in his book Expert Secrets talks a lot about that process. Ryan Levesque from the Ask Method, who we've
yeah,
worked with, very
actually,
good.
he's having now like a workshop and is going
Yeah,
now and then.
if you have the opportunity to learn any of his content, his masterclass, the Ask Method masterclass, is one of the best online courses I've ever gone through. I use it today when I work with companies, but it's the idea of how do you understand what those questions that people are asking, and then when you understand that content, the issues that they're facing, how do you create your messaging to connect what you have to offer with them in the best way possible? So hero's journey, define that. Like, what
Mm,
is the step-by-step process from first interaction? You as the guide, how are you going to connect with them? What are you going to provide to them along that journey that gets them to their ideal destination?
mm,
So, and that's a story. You look at every great story throughout history. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Marvel and the Avenger movies that they've created. So it's that hero arc.
yeah.
Everything has, here's our heroes. They're trying to do this kind of thing in their daily life. A bad guy or some bad thing happens, they need to do something about it, and then usually there's a guide or someone that comes in and be like, we need to do this, let's go. There's a battle, and then there's some kind of climax at the end. And
Yeah.
then if they're doing like a series that's episodic or something like that, then it's usually gives like a sneak peek into the next kind of thing coming. So, and then
Mm,
that's just a repeat of the hero arc, the story arc that they're doing again. So it's this
mm,
constant process of rinse and repeat. Christopher Nolan, if you're a fan of
uh-huh.
creating movies and script writing and creating stories, he's one of my favorite. I didn't even know what to call him because he does everything. Producers, he helps write the scripts. He's a writer, but basically the director. He helps come up with the story, and his idea of storytelling is amazing. Like,
Yeah,
look at Inception, look at what he did with the Dark Knight
yeah.
trilogy.
I am a big fan of Batman and the whole Batman. I have watched all the movies since the first one came out and till now. But I don't know where
What
the franchise is going. I'm waiting
Yeah,
for
I
the
don't know.
next one.
We'll see. Yeah, because Robert Pattinson, I think, is the new Batman in this next one. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
like The Dark Knight. I think was one of the best movies of all time. The
Mm,
storytelling in that was just truly amazing. Like
yeah.
Tenet is a new one that I haven't seen yet. I've heard good things about it, but it was very time driven. So as you notice, like in Christopher Nolan's story, he loves to share stories of things that he's very interested in or passionate about. Like
Mm,
Inception, he did about dreams because he's
mm,
been obsessed with dreams and like, what does that
yeah.
mean? Tenet is all about time and what does that mean?
Oh,
Interstellar, was about space and
it's
relativity, and so
mm,
I love how he does. Like Interstellar is one of my favorite movies of all time. Just the storytelling and then the way that you lead people on that journey with you is amazing. So think about that, like, and apply it to your business. How do you use that same kind of storytelling and that same kind of experience? Now you can't do it, at that same kind of level unless you're already like a multi-million-dollar business or $1 billion business. But what can you do at your current level that you're at and provide an experience or value to that ideal
yeah.
client or customer?
Yeah. So how do you see the things that facing entrepreneurs affecting the growth or the decline or the stability of their business? Because what do you think the challenges are facing entrepreneurs? Speaking of the story.
Yeah, I mean, specifically with the story, it's just like it's a requirement. You have to have it. If
Mm,
you don't have a clearly defined story, and that's again your brand identity, your brand ethos, you aren't able to do the three important things of your business which come next, and that is your sales and lead generation, your marketing, and then your operations. So
mm,
sales and lead gen is all about selling your product or service. So you have to use your story to sell what it is that you have. Marketing is all about messaging, like producing content, messaging around using SEO, video marketing, text message marketing, email marketing, whatever it is that is the common. You need to think about where people hang out. Who are those customers or clients and where are they hanging out? Do the research, find out where they're at. And then marketing's job is to produce messaging materials, content, value, free content, paid content directly to them where they're hanging out and using SEO to do it again in the right way. And then operations is all about systems. Like how
mm,
are you managing with the CRM, all of those contacts that come in, the leads that come in, project management. How are you managing finances? How are you managing your team?
mm,
I love to tell people you're only as good as your team that you surround yourself with. So,
yeah.
like, how are you doing project management? How are you adding in accountability and things like that? On this is our future direction. We need to track our progress. What gets
Mm,
measured, what gets managed, it gets done.
yeah,
So
of course.
those are some of the big challenges that a lot of companies face. So develop your story. If you don't have a story, develop it. And then sales, marketing, and operations, having those silos of the company clearly defined are really important.
Mm,
Whenever I work with a company, it's usually one of those four areas or more that they have challenges with. And then
mm,
we work with them to solve those challenges in there. Like with operations, it might be they need a new website because their SEO is horrible, their page speed is horrible. They have, we've found that their audience is younger or the majority of their traffic is on mobile devices. Well, maybe let's create a mobile app that delivers
mm,
value to them, content to them based on what they're already interacting with and where they're. So a lot of the where are they hanging out? Do the research.
exactly.
Let's see that, and then what can we build or what can we improve that we already have to not only make more money but better serve the customers that we're trying to
So
serve.
speaking of marketing and where do your people hang out and where are they? So what do you see businesses the pitfalls they are doing now? Because For example, social media in general, Facebook, Twitter, and a lot of social media channels now, right? So what are the pitfalls our businesses making now? Should
Yeah,
they focus on a certain channel, or how exactly do you see that?
yeah, great question. Because a lot of businesses think that they need to be doing a lot of social media, and that's not the case. The most successful companies, they focus on building their own community, and their own community that you own, the business owns, is usually in the form of an email list. So in terms of building a platform and building the company for long-term success is getting them in your contact list, your database, your CRM that you have, because when they're in there, then you have the ability, you have a captive audience. It's like going to speak at a conference. You have, like, think about doing this physically. Like, if I wanted to go, like, one of my videos on YouTube has like 50,000 views. If I wanted to speak to 50,000 people, I have to go to this massive arena and try to corral everyone to get there. They all have to go to the same time, but I can do that digitally today. So it's the same kind of thing. You want to have a captive audience through your email list or your CRM. Like, we have a custom CRM that we've built for companies where it does all the automation for you. It's like handles email newsletters, the text message marketing, the sales funnels, and everything, because getting the people into that community first is the most important thing. So again, you have to have tremendous value. Like, hey, here's 100 of my best email newsletter templates I've ever used. Here's 10 of my best blog post email templates I've ever used. It's generated millions of traffic views on Google. So things like that, where it's like, whoa, who wouldn't want to have those kind of insights? And then when they get into your email list, you just continue adding value. Hey, here's a little bit about my story of why I created Catalyst, or this is why I joined the team at Motava. And you're sharing a story. You're leading them along this journey where eventually I'm like, hey, we've talked with you a little bit about some of these things, and it's probably things that you're dealing with your business right now. Well, guess what? We created a free mini series to go through this, and then at the end of it, it's like, purchase our online course or schedule a free consultation with our consulting company. And we'd love to hear more about the challenges that you're facing and how we could potentially, work with you to solve it. So biggest thing is focus on what generates an ROI for the company. Social media marketing has a 2 to 3% conversion rate on average. Email, if you do it right, has around a 30% conversion rate.
Okay.
So it's like I'm getting 10 times, or more improvement with an email and having a captive audience compared to social media. So a lot of companies are just, in my opinion, wasting money on social media, thinking it's going to get conversions. Now, social media is terrific for trying to produce viral content, showing people that you're there and that you're active. You're trustworthy. So in terms of authenticity and vulnerability and being trustworthy, social media is terrific. But in terms of like generating an ROI for the company, probably not. Unless you can be out in the front early on, like with TikTok. A lot of people who are early creators, they got out in front, and now they're using it to get a really good ROI. Same thing with YouTube. People who got in early, they had a huge advantage. It's much harder to get a following on YouTube now with high subscriber, unless you do it right and you're producing a lot of content and have very good technical SEO to get people in. Same kind of thing with Clubhouse, the audio chat room. So I've been on Clubhouse. I was one of the first people on in their beta group. I made a name for myself because I started creating rooms on like marketing topics, business book topics, and it blew up just because I'm delivering value to people. But more importantly, it was a very small, close-knit group of people. And then now, there's millions and millions of people on Clubhouse using it. So it's much harder to get your name out there and kind of get a footing to get, potential customers, clients in. So, and usually when you're trying to fake yourself, like when people go online and they do videos and stuff and they're like, oh, buy my product, like the customers can see through that. So think about the value that you're offering first, and then be like, by the way, this is why I created, such and such product or our
Yeah.
service that we do. So it's just way more of a open, inviting kind of an ask rather than, hey, you need to buy this now.
Yeah, so you mentioned like your own platform. So earlier today, I was reading an article about Instagram and how it's like declining. I don't know how that's much true, but I experienced it myself on my own Instagram account. It was going up very fast. I left it for a while and didn't post that much. And now when I am posting again, it's like the engagement is low. It's not reaching like the organic reach itself, like Facebook and stuff like that. It's not very good anymore. So having like you mentioned an email list is something that is could be considered your own thing to have. The best thing that you can do to build a business, right?
For sure. And most of the good companies on social media that do a lot of promotion, they push people to some kind of thing that gets them onto their email list. So, like if it's a free download or a free piece of content, oh, you got to go to this page to give your email. So the whole focus is on, they've got a captive audience, but they're using that audience to then get them into some kind of other database that they can use in the future. So, and to your point, Instagram, they constantly are changing their algorithm. It was a huge change relatively recently, months back. They changed it where they launched Reels. So if you are producing content on Instagram, Reels, using Reels to produce your videos is really, really good. So I've been testing out a lot of TikTok videos and then Reels to see just what performs, what doesn't, what works and what doesn't. But again, if you're just starting out, like you've got to generate sales and leads. So using an email list and having some kind of incentives to get people on there is a great starting point. As you start to get in some people and make some money, do some sales, you're able to have a little bit of bandwidth and flexibility to explore other things and do some testing. I recommend companies to try to self-fund their growth as much as they can. And usually that's, hey, what's our low-hanging fruit opportunities? What's easily accessible to us? Let's try it, figure out what works. And then when we make some money from it, let's devote, X amount of dollars to that to do our phase 2 kind of testing and potential other ways that we can grow.
Great. Actually, I discovered the reels on Instagram relatively new, so I was posting a little bit. But I guess this kind of thing needs like a lot of views. Like you said, you test, so I tested. I post some here and there. Some does not get views at all, like stays 0, 1, 2. Some reaches like 1-2,000. That the maximum is, I think, I got about 2,000 like views. But I think in reels, for example, you need a lot more than that, because when I see 2,000 views, you don't see a lot of people like even liking or following a few.
Right.
So you need like 10,000, 100,000 to get on your reel to get real engagement and real. So yeah, social media is getting, I don't know the word, maybe tougher and tougher.
That's right. Well, here's the thing. Like yesterday, I was doing a lot of research into it because one of the big things that we have companies and clients reaching out to us on is building a Clubhouse-like app for their business. And I had to do a lot of research into that just for the projects that we were doing for these companies. And Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, a lot of the major, what's the other one? WeChat, a lot of the major social media platforms, chat tools, they're going to be rolling out this audio room feature. So that's going to be, I always tell people, if you want to see the future of what's going to be important, look at what companies are currently investing in and what they're telling their teams to work on, because that's going to be released in like 6 months to a year.
Yeah, but I see a lot, speaking what working on, because the concept of, for example, reels on Instagram came out, I think, from TikTok. So they're like taking now from each other. So they want to keep people in that platform. They don't want them to go to another one.
That's exactly. Well, that's the biggest thing with Clubhouse of why it was so successful. You have a very captive audience of, it's very close knit. It's like very intimate rooms. Like they have massive rooms. Like the largest rooms that you can have are 5,000 people in there, so that you can have large rooms. But the best rooms, in my opinion, are the ones that are like, 10 to 20, 30 people in there, because then you have the opportunity to really talk to everyone and get to know everyone. So having that in the moment ability to talk with people is huge. Like we're building a custom social network for a company now, and they wanted this like ability to have rooms where the people in their social network can be like, hey, I want to create rooms. I want to talk with, so and so that we're going through the same online courses. We've been talking in groups online. I'd love to just, talk with them rather than typing on the keyboard or something, So having that feature of better connecting with people is important. And if that keeps you on the platform, that's absolutely gold mine, because that's lifetime value.
What do you think about live streaming in general, whether it's on YouTube or other?
Live streaming
is it a good thing to do?
Oh yeah. Live streaming is a very good thing to do if it's a good fit for your business. Some companies, it doesn't make sense to do. Like if you are a air conditioning company, again, I keep using that example. I don't think it's good necessarily to do live content, because you need to think about where are your ideal clients or customers hanging out at. And is live streaming going to be a good place to do it? I like to do live streaming for my audience because there's a good amount of people who listen to podcasts, who watch YouTube shows on how to grow their company or how to develop, new software, things like that. So I like to do live streaming content. Now, for a lot of online course launches that we've done, doing live streaming is amazing. Like when we did Secrets of Closing the Sale Masterclass, Kevin Harrington, a few of the other people who were on camera, we would be going live behind the scenes. Sometimes it was pre-recorded and we would release it as a live video. There's a lot of flexibility that you can do there with it, but it is absolutely amazing if it makes sense for your company to do it. I do it a lot because I can not only interact with people live, but then that's my pillar content. Like we talked about earlier, I can then repurpose it for a lot of other things.
Yeah, like me, recording the videos now, I chop them down and have highlights to post in, for example, Instagram, Pinterest, because I saw that Instagram, for example, when you upload the whole video for like 30 minutes, it's not that good when you upload a chunk of the video, like 1, 2, 3 minutes maximum.
Oh yeah.
So what can be,
like Gary V is a great model to follow for that, because he has this podcast show, and if you're subscribed to his show, you already can kind of see he does the exact same thing.
Yeah. Actually, I saw
the video and records, and then uses it all for different things.
I think one time I listened to one of his episodes, and in that episode, I think he directed people to go to download some kind of a PDF or slideshow. In that slideshow, he explains like when you, for example, recording this video for like 30 minutes or more or an hour, you can upload it, for example, on YouTube, and then you can chop it down and use the bits of video here and there, use some quotes. So it's like you mentioned, content for another week or another month.
Absolutely right. Yeah. I mean, it's very valuable. Like think about it. Like Gary has a team of 21 people who just do that for him, repurposing all the content. So he produces tons of content, every day. So it makes sense to have someone that does that. So like to your point though, with Instagram specifically, his team, his designers design all those short video pieces, and then they direct them to, hey, go on, Apple Podcasts and listen to this, or go on my website or the show website to listen to this in more detail. So it's quick snippet. Like Grant Cardone's been doing a lot of it too recently. Short form video, snippet on, hey, here's my key takeaways, and then give people the opportunity, if you want to learn more, listen or watch the full video.
So. Okay, cool. So what do you think businesses should do to stay or grow their businesses?
Yeah, I mean, I always recommend asking the right questions and work backwards from there. So like I'm data oriented. So I come, like we talked about early on, you're saying I come from a data background, research background. So looking at data analytics is really important. So like with your website, look at Google Analytics, look at Google Search Console to see how your search traffic is performing with the keywords that people type in to find your content online. And then usually from there, when you do look at the analytics, like on social media, your email, your website, wherever you have things out there that you can kind of track, look at the numbers and see what is performing, what's not, and then lean more into what's working and kind of minimize what's not working. That's the easiest kind of low hanging fruit opportunity. So like I work with a lot of AI, machine learning, computer manufacturers to produce content for them. And we look at the Google Analytics every week to see what are our best performing keywords in Google Search Console. And we use Ahrefs to do a lot of the SEO research and analytics too. We look at that and then we're like, hey, this one wasn't very good over this period of time. Maybe we should scale that back. This one did really well. And then when we published it on other online publications, it got a lot of traffic. So this is something that we should probably lean more into here soon. And then the bigger picture is you also look at evergreen kind of content, because some things might be trending and that's great. You get a quick hit, get some traffic in, but evergreen content is really important too. That's long-term growth. It's common things that people are always wanting to know more about. Like if I talk about a specific algorithm change that Instagram did in like June of 2021, that's not going to be relevant, over a period of time. So, but if I talk about common things that social media platforms change in their algorithms and what to watch out for, that's more evergreen than, a specific date, a specific kind of platform. So those are important things to think about too.
Yeah, because they keep updating. So even on YouTube, for example, I uploaded a video on YouTube like 2 years ago and had no views at all. And like 6 months ago, suddenly went to 5,000 views in like 5 days or something. So these kind of algorithms, social media nowadays, too much going on. I don't even look at them.
Yeah, most of it. If you have the opportunity if you want to do social media, the best my best recommendations for platforms are to do YouTube, Pinterest, and Facebook. Facebook still, it gets a bad rap, but they're still the best in my opinion.
A lot of people there, yeah. And Pinterest, because it works like a search engine. It's not like
Exactly.
basically.
So YouTube, you get a lot of the SEO perspective, important pieces, and then Pinterest, like to your point, you're saying it's a search engine. So putting content up there is going to be evergreen. Like social media, when you put posts up there, it's not relevant after a period of time, a week or 2 weeks, usually, probably much shorter in a lot of cases. But if you regularly reshare it, like when I do content calendars for companies, we try to reshare like top performing content over a period of time, just because people were interested in it. And if it's, again, evergreen, it makes sense to do it. But I don't think it's good to focus on all the platforms. You need to focus on what's relevant. One of my friends out in California, he has a VA company. So thousands of VAs, businesses can hire them to like outsource their work and augment their team. Well, he wanted to test out TikTok. So he bought this crazy gaming chair. And on TikTok, he became like an influencer because all these younger kids were like obsessed with him. So, but now the younger kids that are college age, high school, they all want to be influencers on YouTube. They all want to start their own businesses and be entrepreneurs. It's the perfect market for him, because then he can go, hey, you guys are all producing all this content. I have my VAs that can edit all of your content. We can post it on social media for you. We can add it to your email list. So he was getting millions and millions of views from his content. And he tested it out and it worked. It was something funny. And people were like, this is hilarious. I want to learn more about this guy. So like that kind of thing, it made sense for him to do TikTok. So just do whatever you feel comfortable with. Like for me, I love to write, but I also love to be on video and podcasts. So that's what I like to stick to. And then I transcribe it to do my blog content. Other people just like to write, on their keyboard and produce blog content. So
Mm.
what you got to do what's comfortable for you, but then you also have to think about the important thing: where are your clients or customers hanging out, and you got to be there.
Yeah,
And if it's
exactly.
not you, who are you going to have in the company, to do that for you?
So what would you say one takeaway from this what we are talking about here?
I'd say the biggest thing is get clarity on your story. And I'll leave. I think my favorite quote by Zig Ziglar: "You can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want." So that
Yeah.
comes back to story. Be really clear on your story, and then how are you going to help people get what they want? They have a challenge. They want to lose weight. You might have a fitness program. You might have a fitness product. How are you going to communicate to them? How can I serve you? I'm not here to sell products. I'm here to serve you. And then, by the way, when we help you solve your problem, if this is a good fit for you, let's talk about it. Purchase my product or
Mm.
purchase my service. So think about that. Lead with serving others first rather than how can I serve myself. You're always going to win in the end, even if you don't get them as a customer or a client.
Yeah, exactly. So where can people get in touch with you, Jason?
So easiest way for people to get connected with me is catalystbrandgroup.com. I know we talked a lot about content today, Hussein. So if you go to my website under services, I actually have Catalyst content, and I give away. This is part of my value ladder, full transparency. I give away a lot of my best content marketing templates, like content checklists and cheat sheets. So you put in your email, and it gets sent right to your inbox. So if you want like a lot of blog templates, video scripts, some of my best performance. So if I had to put a number on it, like this is worth at least a few $1,000s of my best information for templates. And then like all of this content together has collectively, I think, generated like 50 plus mil in revenue. So
Great.
like it's really valuable. So I highly
Yeah.
recommend people checking out. And then, I've got a personal website, thejasonfleagle.com. You can check out Motava too at Motava.com. And then Wreckage Sports, Fight Performance Company. Going to be doing a lot of amazing things here sometime soon in the near future. We're putting the marketing together there, but that's Wreckage, WRECKAGE sports.com. So
Cool.
I highly recommend checking that one out too.
Awesome. Awesome. Great. Thank you, Jason, for being here today with me on the Success Great podcast.
Thank you so much, Hussein, for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Awesome.